what you want to do?
Whatever you want.
Okay, here we go. So let's do the respiratory system first, all right? So we open this up. All right, there's the esophagus right there. That's the epiglottis, the flap that covers the hole right there, which is the glottis. And the vocal cords are on either side. Trachea. And the trachea will lead all the way down to the primary bronchi, or bronchus, right here to the lungs. Okay. All right. The parietal pleura is the lining, the skin on the inside of the chest wall. And the visceral pleura is the lining of skin or epithelial cells on all of the internal viscera, on all the internal organs. The diaphragm is going to be located just underneath the lungs, and it separates the thorax from the abdomen. And it would be located here, a sheet of muscle, liver, stomach, spleen, small intestines, large intestine. It's the kidney, ovaries. Okay. Now let's look at the arteries. When we look at the arteries, I'm going to start at the heart. Here's the aortic arch right here. And the aortic arch branches off into the brachiocephalic and the left subclavian. The brachiocephalic branches off in the carotid arteries, both the left and the right carotid artery, and then it becomes the right subclavian. Once it goes through the chest wall, this is the left subclavian. Here's the internal mammary. The vertebral goes down to the vertebrae. Once the artery goes through the chest wall, it now becomes the axillary when it gets into the armpit of the cat.
The red one, right?
The red one. This is, we're talking about the arteries. And then that is going to branch down to the subscapular, which will go down to the shoulder blade.
I'm going to get those confused.
Okay. The subscapular. It's going to be difficult to see. Still got too much tissue around it. But it's this artery that goes down to the scapula.
Okay, so it's that one way down
it's
there?
It's that one way down there.
The blue one?
Okay. That
Is the red artery?
See the red one?
I do know.
And then the subscapular blue one is the vein. All right. Once you get past that, it now becomes the brachial in the arm. Okay. Brachial artery, the brachial vein. Now let's look at the veins. From the heart, from the upper right, from the right atrium, right there, superior vena cava. The superior vena cava then will branch off into the left and right brachiocephalic. And then once it goes here, it's going to break off into the jugular, the left and the right jugular. Once it gets past the jugular, it now becomes the subclavian. It will pass through the chest wall. And again, you're going to have a subscapular right here that's going to go down to the scapula. Once it gets past the scapula and goes into the arm, this is axillary, gets past the arm, it now becomes the brachial vein. Okay? All right.
You didn't do carotid. That's the one.
The carotid artery.
Right.
Yeah, the carotid artery. Here's the left subclavian right here. Okay. Here's the left carotid that's breaking off.
Does it go up to its neck?
Yes, it goes all the way up to the neck. It goes all the way up to the left side of the neck. So that's the left carotid. And here's the right carotid right here. And it branches off of the brachiocephalic.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Are we good there?
Sorry. Thank you.
No worries. Now let's go down through the body cavity. All right. Now as we go through the body cavity, here's the aortic arch. There's the aortic arch right there. It goes down into the thoracic aorta. There's the thoracic aorta. Once the thoracic aorta gets past the diaphragm, it now becomes the abdominal aorta. Abdominal aorta. The first branch it comes to is going to be the celiac. The celiac is going to divide into 3 other arteries, and those arteries are going to branch off into the hepatic.
And they're all named for the organs
Yes,
they go
they're
into,
all
right?
named to the organs that they go to. They're going to go to the hepatic, the gastric, and the splenic. Right there. Okay? Now we're going to go travel down further. Here is the superior mesentery. The superior mesentery goes to the small intestines to feed all of this. All right? There's the superior mesentery. As we go down further, we're going to find the renal vein and the renal artery. It's going to be right next to it. Very large. As we go down further, we'll come to the gonadal. There's the gonadal artery. Gonadal vein. Going right to the gonads. There's the gonadal vein.
And for a female, what is
Okay.
it called? The
Ovarian.
ovarian artery?
Ovarian.
It looks the same.
All right.
Okay.
Now we come down, further down, the abdominal aorta. Here's the inferior mesenteric, which feeds the large intestine. Inferior mesenteric. As we still go further down, Kitty, we come to the iliolumbar artery and the iliolumbar vein. Okay? Then we're going to come to the arteries that are going to branch. There's 2 sets. There's an external iliac and an internal iliac. The external iliac is on top and a little larger. The internal iliac is a little bit smaller and goes down deep, okay, into the body cavity. Can you see the difference there? See the V's? There we go, okay? External iliac, internal iliac, all right? Then that's going to branch down to the femoral, and then there's the deep femoral, if I can find it. It will branch off to the deep femoral right here. See that artery right there? It's branching off and going down deep. Right there. There's the deep femoral. Once we get past all of that is femoral right here. Now let's go back with the veins. The great saphenous runs all the way up to the knee. And then once it gets past the knee, you're going to see a branch coming off here. It now becomes the femoral. Once it gets past that point, it now becomes the external iliac. And then it will branch, once it gets past the hip, it becomes the common iliac right here. Let me get my fingers out of the way. See it branching down here? See that branch going down? External iliac, common iliac is up here because it's going to form a V right underneath the colon.
The branch
There
is
it
the
is.
internal, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There's the common iliac right there.
Okay.
And that's the internal right there, and that's the external right there. Okay, so there's the common iliac vein. And then once it comes all the way up through this way, it now becomes the inferior vena cava. From the common iliac, it now becomes the inferior vena cava, returning blood flow all the way up. There's the renal vein. Follow it all the way up. Goes past the celiac trunk of the superior mesenteric, goes past the celiac trunk, goes underneath the liver, can't see it, and then comes up to the heart, right here, just behind the heart. There is the inferior vena cava, right there. Can you see that? Right there is the inferior vena cava, just underneath the heart. Now there's one more you need to know, the esophagus. The esophagus is located on the right side. Pull that back, pull the rib cage back, just hold that, thank you, sir.
I don't have gloves on, I'm sorry.
The esophagus lies right against the vertebrae, right there. There's the esophagus, and it feeds directly into the superior vena cava. Okay?